What's up, guys? I'm getting back into that streaming thing, and in the new year, making it my resolution to get a consistent schedule going. So if you'd like to stop by at any point or check out future streams, link will be in the description below. But anyways, on to the regular scheduled content. With the holiday season finally winding down, and as of this upcoming Monday, we'll be returning back to that sense of normalcy when it comes to scheduling and the work atmosphere surrounding not only Modern Warfare, but the games industry at large. We're still looking towards that next update for Modern Warfare. Now, we've talked about our thoughts and what to expect when that update rolls around, content-wise, and even to an extent about some changes coming, but in our time since that last discussion, even more has been brought to light as changes likely to come. So today, I wanted to keep you guys in the loop with all of that. Today we're going to cover 17 changes likely coming to Modern Warfare with the next update. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts below if I missed anything or if there's any glaring issues that you see that would maybe be up on the chopping block for a fix as of the next update. But also, if you are new, maybe considering that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare on a daily basis. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's start with the most likely, leading into perhaps then the possible, and then the has been mentioned but may possibly be delayed categories. For the likely stuff, the things that we can almost certainly see here, firstly, we can expect adjustments to the under the map exploits. Now, these have been in the wild since the last title update, and we talked about them briefly when mentioning the updates in that span of time since then, but particularly on maps like Port of Verdansk, there's a big one by B that players love to abuse. There's a handful of them total, but not an overabundance to my knowledge, but still, it's an exploit that gives an unfair advantage to players who can then get under the map, get into walls, and be invincible. So it's something that I'd imagine gets fixed out, especially because these are relatively universally known. There's a ton of people posting about it, mentioning about it, sharing footage of it, and so with that, I'm almost expecting that this has gone to Infinity Ward and they know about it and they've been working on a fix. So fingers crossed that this one comes up as well. Next, we can expect a fix coming for quick play. Recently, there's been an issue with quick play in which it may be something you have even noticed yourself, but if you have a handful of modes selected for it to cycle through and queue up for, it'll oftentimes queue you up for that first mode that you find. But then after that match, say theoretically it's kill confirmed or TDM, it will almost stay constant on that. If you get TDM, you'll get TDM lobbies going forward. If you get a kill confirmed lobby, you'll get kill confirmed going forward. So that one mode will then account for the future matches, and it really doesn't select anything else from that batch that you may have queued up for. Joel Emsley addressed this when he opened up his lines of communication on Reddit the other day, and he said that it was a matter of maps rotating, but the rotation was bugged and that it wasn't cycling through modes. So while it might not apply to everyone, it is a bug that is out there for quite a few players, and it's known about in-house with a fix on the way, so that should be a nice little fix we can expect as well. Then we should end up seeing a change, which is actually kind of a two-parter for this one. The first piece of this dealing with a tweet from user Neptune Assassin, who asked about the tracking for his mission Cornerstone, why the Mark 50 enemies using the recon drone wasn't registering correctly when marking enemies, to which Joe Seacott ended up mentioning that a fix is coming for this, hopefully next week, which is this upcoming week as the time of when that reply was made. But that's a big one for completionists, especially if it can lead directly to the next part of this two-parter here at this change, being the Mark 15 enemies with the recon drone officer challenge. That's been off and on bugged for players, which I've seen it more often than not bugged, but I have seen a few cases where players have gotten it complete somehow, and they've gotten either that challenge or they're 100% already completed for the season. But with Joe mentioning that a fix is coming for this, hopefully that means that it should fix this out as well for the officer challenge, since tracking the action of the drone is really what's bugged. So that's a nice little piece of information to hear and should be a change coming as well. Now, next up, we can hopefully see some changes for the missing emblems from Season 0. If you're part of the many who haven't gotten their rewards for your completion level of Season 0, whether that be 5 emblems or 50 challenges completed, 70 challenges or 7 emblems completed, or 100%, some people just didn't get the rewards. That's something that was mentioned, was being investigated and mentioned by Joel Emsley as an issue he'd personally look into come Monday when he's back in the studio, but he thought was already in the works, which is nice for those still waiting. Then we may end up seeing a buff possibly to the specialist bonus. Evidenced by Joe Seacott's appearance with a conversation about how specialist bonus should match that of Modern Warfare 3's specialist bonus and buffs to the reload, movement, sprint, and ADS speed with stopping power, Joe simply said, agreed. So with developers talking about this kind of stuff, a lot of the times when they mention things publicly like this, it has to clear some channels of communication, and so therefore it may indicate a change coming in the future, but also it could indicate that it's already in the works and therefore could be coming relatively soon. So that's definitely something something that we may be able to look out for with this next update as well. Another thing I'm expecting a fix on is that of the career level display bugged at 155 in your barracks. If you take a look at this, it is something that should be combining both your season 0 and season 1 ranks to give you a total rank, and then when we go further into the future, that will of course just naturally compound, but it's bugged at 155 if you don't play any matches firsthand. So anytime you boot up your game, if you don't play a match, it will still bug out and say 155, but from what I've seen, it corrects itself if you do play a match or two. Then another change that should be coming along the way is that of the glaring reflections for gold and platinum camo, where in some cases, if you look at it just the right angle and you ADS, you'll get the full fury of the sun in your face off that metallic sheen on the gold and platinum camos. This was mentioned by Joel to have a fix coming as well, so we can expect that to be coming with this next title update. Now, let's move over into the hopeful category for number 9 here. This is stuff that is bugged, but doesn't necessarily have too much communication regarding it, but could be something that likely is fixed out because it's been there for so long. Firstly, one big thing is that of trial tokens being used and not starting, but prompting a delay, which may be seen as confusion that it's total inaction. This then can result in players utilizing 2 tickets for trials in which you only needed to use 1, but it will take 2 from you. So the way this works out is that, again, sometimes when loading up, it will be delayed, and therefore you might think that it's not doing anything. So you press and hold to activate another one, and it takes another one, but it's still in that loading process of the first one. So it literally just eats a second ticket. I'm hoping that gets corrected. That happened to me a couple of times here in a method that I was using to XP farm, and it cost me probably total about 40 to 60,000 XP. So that's XP that I definitely could have used. I've noticed that for a while now, since before season 1 even. So hopefully that gets fixed out. But next up, hopefully we end up seeing some fixes for the PC stutters and crashes. We talked about this recently where it's actually a very mainstream issue on PC, and there's so many issues, whether it just be straight up crashes or frame stutters in game, which may lead you to lose a gunfight. It may feel like you teleported in some cases. There's just a lot of that stuff that I definitely think needs fixed out. And talking in the same vein of that of PC content and PC issues, man, I'm really hoping that they finally get the installing shaders thing under lock. Now, it's not as bad as it used to be. They ended up fixing this out a little bit, but the issue still persisted up until now. But it would take longer to reinstall your shaders, and you have to do this every single time you start up the game. Now, I'm no PC gaming guru, but I'm pretty sure that that shouldn't be happening. And I know that a lot of people also have this issue, so here's to hoping that gets fixed out. Another thing that I'm hopeful to see a change for here is that of Field Upgrade Pro, in which it has 2 subsidiary issues here at this. Either one, the upgrade itself becomes absolutely unusable, where you literally can't use either your left or your right function to choose one of those 2 field upgrades you end up having, or it ends up sometimes using the equipment instead of the field upgrade. So that said, if you want to try and activate dead silence like I've had in the past, and you have it bound to your right side of your Field Upgrade Pro, which is your right bumper, that'll then place a claymore or throw a grenade or throw C4 or something like that. So here's the hoping that gets fixed out. Then one big thing that I'm really hoping gets fixed is that of teammates' names not being visible. And I feel like this is in the most awkward position right now, where there are so many situations where I find players' names across the map showcasing that their icon, their dot above their name will be there, and then an enemy will step in between us, and I think it's an enemy. But at the same point in time, also in, say, Ground War, I can round a corner where my entire team is, but it doesn't show their name. So it's in this weird little limbo period where it's showing up too consistently at range, but when you're close with a teammate, it doesn't show up and it may spook you. So I'm really hoping this gets fixed out. But rounding out the video with the last 4 things I want to talk about, which are possible, come down to firstly, well, more creative classes. We talked about this in particular a couple of days ago, so I don't want to stay on it too long, but more creative classes may very well be coming with the next title update. This is something Joel Emsley mentioned was already in the main line for Infinity Ward's development process and bringing it to the game, so I'm really hoping that gets introduced, and it's something we end up seeing here in the next week. Then we may end up having a possible adjustment to max level icons. Now, this isn't going to theoretically allow you to go past 155, but it may display differently when you are 155. Maybe that allows you to end up having your officer rank emblems that you're working towards be that rank icon instead of the 5-star general. Maybe it's something that does allow you to continue going after 155 and gives you that extra number. but we'll have to wait and see. But it was mentioned by Joe Seacott that it was something that they could do better with, and so therefore we may end up seeing it. Joel Emsley also mentioned that the 16th thing we can talk about is Snickers coming to riot shields. Not that this is anybody's really main concern, but it is something that was, for whatever reason, an issue where players couldn't have stickers on the riot shield, but they could on every other weapon. Outside of, I think, the melee, I don't remember if the knife actually does have this as well, but that's something that will be coming in the near future and is possible to be coming as of this next title update. And the final thing I want to talk about is that of weapon adjustments and tuning. Now, I've seen a decreasingly smaller number of adjustments naturally as the game goes on with each title update, but at the same time, we still see a few weapons adjusted, and even on the back end that's not reported publicly, stealth patches and adjustments to weapons are still going strong, which is pretty irritating that those things happen relatively frequently, where things are changed but not reported. So when we think about that pattern, even though there's not a huge solid lead that says there's going to be weapon tuning coming in the next title update, it is something that I'm still expecting. Now, these are all on top of the issues that we've discussed here just before the holidays as well, and as everyone is coming back and things get back to normal, it could make for a actually really large update in the next patch. All these things that we mentioned are on top of the kill feed adjustments, weapon physics on Ania Palace, spawns on shipment, infected throwing knife changes, challenge tracking issues, crash errors, view model bugs, game chat bugs, player clipping issues, and even more that we discussed almost 2 weeks ago at this point. So we'll have to wait and see what becomes of it all, but there's certainly quite a lot of changes on tap. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. Wanted to keep you guys in the loop with 17 more changes likely to come within the next update. So let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular you guys are really looking forward to here out of these changes? Anything that, again, maybe I missed and you would like to throw into this list? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.